Section 1 instructions for the edging on page 24 of Mailout 10. You are instructed to purl one stitch using the pre-cut lengths of Barbara, Sulphur and Electric Green yarn in preparation for the bobbles on row 11. So I'm going to show you how you join in those lengths of yarn, and then I will show you how to knit the bobble on row 11. So on row 10 you purl up to where you're asked to purl one stitch using length of Sulphur, Tanzanite or Barbara. I'm going to use Barbara for this one. You put your needle into the next stitch ready to purl, then just simply purl one stitch using that length of yarn, leaving a tail of a few inches there that can be darned in later, and then you leave that length in place as you continue on to the next length of yarn. Don't knit this end in, leave that one loose because you will need that later on to secure it to the other loose end to finalize your bobble. Okay, so we're now on at the beginning of row 11, where you are instructed to work to the coloured stitches, and in the pattern it will say MB using length of Barbara. MB is the abbreviation for make bobble, and you can find the explanation for this on page 39 of Mailout 10. So to make the bobble, you are instructed to knit into the front, back, front, back, and then once again into the front of the contrast coloured stitch. You can at this point just pull on that loose end at the back just to tighten up the bottom of those stitches. You're then instructed to turn the work around, slip the first stitch purlwise, and then purl the remaining 4 stitches. At this point again you can give a little pull on that loose end of the contrast coloured yarn, and that will just again tighten up those stitches. Turn the work back round again so you have right side facing, and then knit those 5 stitches, and then, like casting off, lift one by one the first, the second, the third and the 4th stitch over the first stitch. Pull firmly on that end at the back and on the yarn that you've just knitted the bobble with. Make sure it's pushed firmly to the front as you then continue to knit until you reach the next bobble. I pull the yarn nice and firmly after the first 2 stitches just to make sure that they're nice and tight and there's no gap between the bobble and the next Tanzanite stitch after the bobble. You can, if you so wish, just pull on those ends once again to firm up that bobble. Just be a little bit careful because the felted tweed is quite a fragile yarn, so if you pull too tightly that the yarn could sort of break off. So just be sort of firm but gentle with that pulling. Leave those long tails at the back loose until you've completed all of the bobbles, and I would suggest a few rows as well past that bobble row. And then you can secure the two ends of the bobble together by knotting, double knotting the two ends of the felted tweed together, and then those ends can be darned carefully into the back of the bobble.